Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Dead Film Critics Society podcast. I'm Daniel. I run the page reviewing on YouTube. And we have Aiden here, my good friend from GBD Reviews on Instagram. Today, we're going to quickly react to the Writers Guild nominees awards for adapted and original screenplay. These are usually good indicators of Oscars. Not the perfect ones. They definitely pick some stuff that the Oscars don't. But let's see what they picked. I have the list right here. So, for original screenplay, we have Judas and the Black Messiah, screenplay by Will Burson and Shaka King. Palm Springs, screenplay by Andy Sierra.
Nice.
We have Promising Young Woman, written by Emerald Fennell.
Yep.
Sound of Metal, screenplay by Darius Marder and Abraham Marder. And then The Trial of Chicago 7, written by Aaron Sorkin. So, pretty standard list. Two big things that are missing right now are Mank and Minari, which we have seen some big contenders be snubbed in the past. So, I'd say that's not a great sign for Minari overall. It means not everyone completely loves the movie compared to some of its competition. This is good for Juice and the Black Messiah for sure. Some people definitely lost faith it would have a shot, considering what's happening before. Promising Young Woman, also, this is good for it because some people think it could be a front runner, but and it's clear everyone is getting a lot of nominations, getting director nominations, getting its screenplay nomination, so definitely a strong contender, I think, against the Trial of Chicago 7, which isn't a surprise to see here, but it's definitely solid that it's here because it is maybe one that people consider more standard, more Oscar-worthy, while the Writers Guild does often go more towards comedy, which is why I think Palm Springs is here, which is definitely worthy, I think. I wouldn't be my first pick for sure, but definitely a
honestly,
pick.
I'm happy to see it there. I thought it was a fantastic movie, and definitely deserving with that nomination. I'm surprised. I can't remember. Did you nominate for a Golden Globe for a screenplay? I think we talked about that a little bit.
I don't know. It didn't. I don't believe there.
That's a shame.
Especially since screenplay at the Golden Globes is only 5 movies in total, and that's both adapted and original. So and they don't separate it by like comedy or drama either, even though they do that with the movies and the actors. Sound of Metal is also, that's good for it, considering it's been getting a lot more hype recently. People think it could go all the way to get a Best Picture nomination because it could get nominations in actor, supporting actor, screenplay, cinematography, editing maybe, and sound. As rightfully fits the movie, Sound of Metal should probably get a sound nomination. Big concern here. Soul looks like it's probably done. It hasn't got nominations anywhere. It didn't get nominated at the Critics' Choice, didn't get nominated at the Globes, and didn't get nominated here either. So it looks like it's going to be definitely tough for Soul to get in. So
that's a shame, to be completely honest with you. I mean, like, I was hoping that it could have gotten nominated, but I guess it's just because it's an animated film, they don't really hold it in as high regard as some of the live action films, which is a shame because, I mean, like, the performances in that film, regardless of whether, you can see the actor actually performing it, are still great, and I think that it's a crime that they've been overlooked. So,
We'll move over to adapted screenplay, where we have the first one is Borat's subsequent movie film, which has so many freaking writers. First of all, Sacha Baron Cohen.
How many writers?
Anthony Hines, Dan Swimmer, Peter Bainham, Erica Renoja, Dan Mazer, Jenna Friedman, and Lee Kern. So that's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 writers on that film.
Wow.
And then it says story by Sacha Baron Cohen, Anthony Hines, Dan Swimmer, and Nita Pedrad, based on characters created by Sacha Baron Cohen. So, I mean, he's technically the mastermind behind all of this. Borat, the first Borat actually did get nominated at the Oscars, so I'm assuming it definitely also got nominated at the Writers Guild as well. So that's not too surprising. We have Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, screenplay by Ruben Santiago Hudson, based on the play written by August Wilson. News of the World, screenplay by Paul Greengrass and Luke Davies, based upon the novel by Paulette Giles. One Night in Miami, screenplay by Kemp Powers, based on the stage play One Night in Miami by Kemp Powers. And then we have White Tiger, screenplay by Ranmin Barani, based on the book The White Tiger. The big one that's not here is, I think, Nomadland. Looks like the Writers Guild didn't consider that the best written film, and I can see that it's not the most story-based film. And from what I'm seeing here, they definitely are looking towards more of a story kind of overall thing rather than maybe sharpness or particular lines. Because I think
Yeah.
Mank also kind of relies upon some of its wittiness and research. I think Nomadland also does that, just in a more. It is definitely a less structured story. It's a little concerning considering it's supposed to be the front runner. Again, they have picked stuff that they've sometimes stubbed the winner. They sometimes give the win to something that doesn't even get nominated the Oscars. So this
Yeah.
definitely isn't a clear indication, but isn't the best sign for something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
and other than that, News of the World getting nominations very good for it. It looks like it's probably going to be the fifth slot. I think people will still expect Nomadland to get nominated, but I definitely
Yeah.
think that with these kind of nominations, that the run for Best Picture, I think I did say in my recent video, I think it's a two-horse race between Chicago 7 and Nomadland. I think I might have been a little too hasty there because um, I definitely think that it could go to almost anything at this point. It's a lot more wide
Yeah.
open. I think Trial for sure will definitely always be there. I think Nomadland will always be there. But there could be one film that the Academy just grapples onto and just takes to all, like, there are a lot of good amount of films that are on the edge for a lot of nominations, but if they can get all of them, they can potentially win some of those. And if they can get Best Picture nominations, they can
Yeah.
win, right? Things like,
Yeah.
I don't know if some people think Sound of Metal might have a shot. That's a pretty big stretch. I'm not even sure if it's gonna. I think its bigger fight is to try to get a Best Picture nomination in the first place. There definitely is a chance though. Promising Young Woman is one that looks good getting the nomination here. Is one that people think could have a chance. People think it's a very good film. Most critics like it. It is a more of a polarizing film that people don't consider like typical like an Oscar pick, but I don't know. People think maybe because Parasite winning last year that there might be a new era of Best Picture winners coming into the 2020s, and who knows? They
Yeah.
could be right for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. Is yeah. I mean, but yeah, I think it's definitely possible at this stage. You don't want to stick with the status quo too long.
Yeah,
So yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. For documentary screenplay, we have a couple films that were on the radar for Oscars. One of them isn't anymore. We have All In: The Fight for Democracy from Amazon, written by Jack Youngelson, and then Totally Under Control, written by Alex Gibney. Totally Under Control is a film I thought most people thought was going to maybe at least be on the long list or potentially nominated, considering it covers COVID-19 and the Trump administration's handling of that. Seems like a
Yeah.
very Oscar kind of film. Didn't get nominated on the long list, so that one's dead. But I think this is a good sign for All in the Fight for Democracy, personally, because I'm not sure how
Yeah.
many. I looked back quickly at the history of documentary screenplay. Not a ton of films get it, mostly because I don't think all of them do have screenplays. I think a lot of the documentaries that do end up getting nominated are just run on the idea that they're just filming things that are happening at a certain place or time or event. But it's good to see a more planned out documentary, which I'm pretty sure these are, gets a nomination here. So I think that's a good pick. I think All in the Fight for Democracy definitely could have a chance of winning Best Documentary, personally.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
haven't
mean,
seen
I
it,
I've
so
still haven't seen that yet, but I mean, like,
I need to check that out as well for sure.
yeah, heard good things though. So I mean,
Yeah,
like, I will trust the critics for the most part, but not Rotten Tomatoes because that can be a
yeah.
bit fishy sometimes. So
Um,
yeah.
yeah. For adapted screenplay, I think it's possible Borat could get a nomination,
Yeah.
but I think I really don't see them. It would have to probably be something like maybe no, because I think there's no way they don't nominate something like One Night in Miami and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I very much doubt they won't pick those, but
Yeah.
to see them swap out something like News of the World or Nomadland would be very surprising. I could see them swapping out News of the World, but that would be a pretty dramatic pick because I think even though Borat did get a nomination before, I don't think most people consider it a Oscar kind of film, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
definitely not.
exactly.
Yeah, it was
Um,
definitely a good film, but not as good as the first one for sure. But yeah, no, it's a good film. But like I said,
yeah,
not an Oscar nominated film. Let's be
yeah.
honest here.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
someone who said that potentially Minari could win Best Picture because they believe the America's under this like new like we talked he related it to the British invasion of like the 60s with things like the Beatles and music, but also related to things like movies where that decade apparently half the Best Picture winners were British, and things like James Bond were booming at the box office. Um, the big difference here, I think, is, and then obviously citing that Parasite won Best Picture last year, the fact that Minari didn't get nomination here isn't great. Parasite did win last year. It won this award for original screenplay. It did predict both the winners correct last year. Hasn't always, but did last year. But I don't. I think that they're really different. I could also see that if you relate to things like K-pop, that's a big area of music that's definitely rising in the United States for sure. But also, if you think about it, um, the Academy is mostly older white men, so
Yeah.
what to think
Yeah.
that they, like you can see them like adapting, British culture is kind of their own when it comes to movies and movies and music. It's a lot harder to see that for Korean culture as well. You might like if you
Yeah.
want like I'd say something that would be closer would be like cuz they speak the exact same language, right? So I could definitely see that while Koreans obviously don't. I could see that more with something like I don't know, another European country like Italy or something. Like, I mean, they obviously nominated things like The Godfather, but those were still pretty American films. They obviously were
Yeah.
had like had elements of Italian culture because it was about an Italian immigrant family. But yeah, I don't know. I personally disagree with that. I think the fact that Minari didn't get nomination here, I think, is very concerning for its outside chances of getting Best Picture. I think it's maybe closer to dead. Again, Soul's probably not going to have a chance. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. I don't know if you have anything else to say, real quick.
No, I'm good, man. I'm like I kind of agree with you on there. I think we've kind of touched on these movies a lot before, so there's not too much else
Yeah,
left to say. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
true. I will say it's cool that Palm Springs got a nomination. I appreciate that
Yes.
for sure.
No, I do
Um,
too.
yeah,
Honestly, that was one of my favorite movies of the year. Honestly, it was so funny, and I like how it uses like the conventional premise of like what's it called, time loop, right? We've
yeah,
seen that before in like Happy Death Day, and of course Groundhog Day, endlessly rewatchable movies. But it was nice to see like kind of a familiar but unique twist on the premise.
for
So
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I think this
yeah,
definitely makes me more excited to see Juice and the Black Messiah as well.
Hmm.
Because if it gets like I think this Writers Guild usually nominates movies that I think are overall a little more popular. You can kind of see that in the adapted screenplay for sure. Something like Nomadland hasn't been viewed by anybody at all,
yeah,
while something like The White Tiger was available on Netflix, Borat was available on Amazon. So was Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was also available on Netflix. One Night in Miami was also available on Amazon. News of the World got one of the larger theatrical releases of the year, alongside things like Promising Young Woman and Wonder Woman. So and everything here has gotten either like a Netflix has already released or has been like is like tied to a larger studio. There aren't a ton of big like indie films, even though they
yeah,
sometimes do go for those kind of things. Like it did give Eighth Grade Best Original Screenplay when it didn't even get nominated at the Oscars.
yeah.
So, and that was a more indie film. It was made by A24 and directed by Bo Burnham.
Yes.
So, I don't know. I think there is some concern for Nomadland. Not a ton. I could see it losing Best Adapted Screenplay to something like One Night in Miami or Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and still going on to win the Oscar. Because I
Yeah.
really don't see them giving Best Picture to something that's so play-like for either of those movies. So, I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
have to see.
Yeah, of course. No, yeah. I mean, like, I'm excited, like you said, for Juice in the Black Messiah too. I believe that what comes out Friday, or has it already come out? I'm just trying to remember.
No, it came out last Friday, so it's been out for 4 days.
Good, because yeah, I need to rent that still. Gonna make
Yeah.
some time for that before the week is out, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
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 because
should be good.
our next podcast is going to be on that. So I'm probably gonna
Yes.
upload that before we record that episode. So make sure to look out for that.
Yep.
Thank you so much for listening. If you made it to this point, I'm Daniel again from Reviewing on YouTube.
Yep.
This is Aiden again from GPD Reviews on Instagram. Make sure to check out both of
Yep.
us. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, comment, everything. Tell me how bad my
Yep.
Oscar predictions are on my newest video, because I'd
Yes.
really like to hear that. And
Abuse this man, but respectfully.
yeah. Please abuse me respectfully. I do agree with that. And we'll see you guys in the next one. All right. Take care,
All right.
guys.
Bye bye.